How goes it, everyone? I am the world famous Fat Kid, and we are doing Week 10 recap. Going over the games of obviously Week 10, and I'm gonna give you my opinions. But we're gonna see what exactly I did, how I did with my picks, and well, we're not double digit, which I've grown accustomed to, but 9-5, still winning record. Can't complain about that, but I know I could do better. So let's go over the games. Let's see what I liked and what I didn't like, what I got right, what I got wrong, all that fun stuff. So starting with Thursday night football, another misery game on primetime television. Carolina Panthers, Chicago Bears. I picked the Bears 16-13. I mean, outside of the early punt return for a touchdown, Carolina, nothing. Chicago, nothing. Like it was a relatively boring game. I can't really say much about it. Carolina had a chance to tie the game late in the fourth quarter, but missed their field goal. Woo. Yeah, I mean, Deonta Foreman was, the only worthy stat sheet. 21 carries, 80 yards for a touchdown. That was it. Everybody else, garbage. Yeah, but we're gonna start off strong. And by the way, with that win, I'm 8-2 on the season with Thursday night football games. I'm excited about that one. That's pretty good. I like it. No, we're gonna move to the international game. Indianapolis Colts, New England Patriots. Another ugly, ridiculous game. 10-6 Colts. I picked the Colts. That's 2 wins. I don't even really want to try to. I don't want to go over this. It's garbage. Like they both scored uh, points on their opening drive. Colts got the touchdown. New England got a field goal. That's it. There was 6 points in the second. Whatever. Mac Jones got benched. I don't see him as the starting quarterback. Neither is Zappy. But either way, Patriots suck. Okay. We're gonna move on to probably the craziest game. The most ridiculous game was the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. Cleveland just was being dominated by Baltimore. 1 second. That's probably going to be super loud. So, oh well. We'll leave it in. It adds to the realism. Anyway, Cleveland was getting dominated. Pick six on the first drive. I think the first pass of the game by Baltimore. They're leading 7-0. They continue piling on. And then all of a sudden, Cleveland just hangs around, a lot of field goals, and then the Baltimore offense just imploded. A pick six put Cleveland right back into the game. I believe that tied it. And I mean, with as the clock expired, Cleveland got in position for a game-winning field goal, booted it through. That is 1 of 5 today, or on Sunday. And I don't know what's going on with Baltimore, but yeah, they need something out of their offense because they can't just rely on the defense, obviously. Anyway, I picked Baltimore. I got it wrong. Cleveland surprised me. Absolutely crazy. Stat lines are all kind of garbage. So we're going to move on to my pick for game of the week, Houston Texans, Cincinnati Bengals. I think it lived up to the hype. I think it was the best game of the week. There's arguments could be made for some others, but either way, Cincinnati jumped out real quick. Houston missing a lot of plays, weren't sustaining drives, but they settled down and they got moving. I mean, Houston came out of the gate in the second half and took a 2-score lead. Cincinnati fought back. They tied the game. Cincinnati got a chance late in the fourth quarter, and Tyler Boyd dropped a touchdown. Actually, I'm sorry. He dropped a touchdown that would have put them up 31-30, forcing Houston to go for a touchdown. He dropped it. So, Stroud, again, 2 weeks in a row, gets a final possession drive to win a game. And he drives them down, gets into field goal position, and boom. That's 2 weeks in a row CJ Stroud has led a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter. It's pretty flippin' good. And that is now 2 on Sunday. 2 game-winning field goals at the end of regulation. I mean, CJ Stroud, 356 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He now has over 800 passing yards in his last 2 games. That is crazy. Man is a rookie. Crazy. Singletary had a huge game. 30 carries, 150 yards, and a touchdown. Noah Brown, 7 catches, 172 yards. I mean, these young guys are going crazy. And it's not like Burrow was garbage. 347 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 2 picks. So 1 extra pick changed it. I don't know. It was a really good game. I even said I would not be surprised if Houston won, and boom, look at what happened. Just saying. I did pick Cincinnati, so that's 1 in the loss column. But we're going to move on to probably one of the uglier games of the week. San Francisco 49ers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. 34-3. San Francisco owned this game from beginning to end. I didn't really see any life out of Jacksonville at all. Less than 60 yards rushing as a team. I mean, a lone bright spot was Christian Kirk, 104 yards receiving, but that's it. Nobody else was really doing anything for the Jags. The defense looked bad. The offense looked bad. They just came off of a bye week, so that is a problem, especially with Houston surging. Jacksonville may not get that division. It's still early. There's still games left to go. We'll find out. But San Francisco came back, stopped their 3-game losing streak. 296 yards, 3 touchdowns out of Brock Purdy. He looked better. He didn't make a mistake. He kept the ball. He kept the stat sheet clean. That's all you ask of him. George Kittle, big game. 116 yards and a touchdown. I mean, what do you want? What do you want? Anyway, no, it was really good if you're a 49ers fan. But I chose San Francisco thinking they were going to snap their skid. And they did. So, moving on to the New Orleans Saints and the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota jumped out in the first half to a 24-3 lead. That is crazy. Josh Dobbs is a huge shot in the arm for this Minnesota team. Now, granted, in the second half, they only got 3 points. Is that because the Saints started playing better defense, or is it because the Minnesota Vikings offense just tired themselves out? I don't know. But they only got 3 points. missed a field goal, so they could have got 6, but whatever. The Saints were just spinning their wheels. They weren't really getting anything going. Uh, Eventually, Carr got hurt midway through the third quarter. Jameis Winston came in, and he threw 2 touchdowns. But Mr. 30 and 30 threw 2 picks. So he keeps that going. If Carr is hurt significantly, I guess my pick for the NFC South is done because the Saints won't do anything with Winston. But I digress. Minnesota looked good. TJ Hawkinson, big game, 11 catches, 134 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, right there. That's two tight ends out of Iowa that just had big games. Because, that's what they produce. Dobbs, 268 yards and a touchdown. He also had 44 yards on the ground and a touchdown. I mean, Dobbs is huge. 5-game win streak for Minnesota. Their season's not dead. I apologize to all the Vikings fans for trying to bury them 5 weeks ago. I did. I said their season's over. Just start shoveling dirt on their grave. No. They're making a run for it. And I think they're going to get at least the number 7 spot. We'll find out. We still got a few weeks to go. I picked Minnesota because of Dobbs and his resurgence and what he did last week, or the week before, I should say, against Atlanta. I think he's going to be nothing but good. He may have a down game or two, but all quarterbacks do. Anyway, I picked Minnesota, got it right. Now we're going to move on to another terrible game, and Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Early, Pittsburgh, their offense looked good. They were moving the ball. They scored points. It was crazy. And then it just stopped. It just stopped. They scored a bunch of points in the first half, and then they stopped playing the game, apparently. But it's crazy how Pittsburgh is winning their games. It's insane that they have been outgained offensively in every single game. But they've won, I believe, 6. How? Oh yeah, that's right. Their defense is really good and they stop opponents from moving the ball after a certain point. I don't know. Jordan Love, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 2 picks. One of which sealed the game at the end. I don't think Jordan Love's... He's mediocre at best. And I don't know if I've said this already, but welcome to mediocre quarterback play, Packers fans. You haven't seen it in 30-some years, 40, I don't know. Between Favre and Rodgers, it's been a while since you've had a bad quarterback or even a mediocre quarterback. I mean, Reed had 84 yards and a touchdown, a really nice touchdown catch. And what's weird is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has 2 running backs that are just... They're going old school football. They're hitting you in the mouth with the run game, and their defense is just pushing you into the ground. Their quarterback sucks. Kenny Pickett sucks. We're just going to go on with that. Anyway, I picked Pittsburgh. We'll move on to the next one. Tennessee Titans, Tampa Bay Bucks. Tampa Bay 20, Tennessee 6. I picked Tennessee thinking Will Levis would have a better game. Mayfield he looked good early and then he kind of dipped back down and then he started a little bit. I thought Tennessee would have a much better game, but Tampa Bay's defense just shut them down. They had a total of 42 rushing yards. They had less than 200 yards passing. They had less than 250 total offensive yards. That's crazy to me. Oh, and Mike Evans for Tampa Bay. He's really good if you didn't know. 6 catches, 143 yards, and a touchdown, and he was pushing people around. Yikes. Anyway, I got this one wrong. Tampa Bay may end up with the NFC South. It's between New Orleans and Tampa Bay because Atlanta just. We'll get to that because it's the Atlanta Falcons and the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray, hey, he came first game back, woohoo! Whatever. And James Conner, first game back since week 5 after being put on IR, and they look competent. They moved the ball. Murray played pretty well for his first game back. No touchdowns, but 249 yards. He did throw a pick, but it's his first game back. Oh, he had a rushing touchdown, so he accounted for some points at least. But Atlanta, oh my goodness, they are. I don't really know what to say about this because looking at the box score, 55 yards for Heineke. I don't know if he got hurt or did he just get pulled. I may have to look that up. 55 passing yards, and then Ritter 39 passing yards. That's insane. That's insane. Less than 100 passing yards or receiving yards, whatever. That's crazy. That's why they lost. Couldn't move the ball, couldn't sustain drives. It's crazy. And the weird thing is they were leading. But Kyler Murray decides to make plays. Last drive of the game, sets up a last-second field goal, and that right there is 3 on Sunday. Arizona won 25-23. I picked Atlanta thinking, oh, Kyler's going to need some time if he even plays. And he came out pretty well. I don't know if Arizona's tanking this year or not. They just keep doing weird things. So, whatever. Yeah. Arizona Cardinals got the win. Goofy game. Then moving on to arguably another one that has claim to best game of the week. Detroit Lions, Los Angeles Chargers. So, there was a single drive that Dan Campbell, head coach of the Lions, made gutsy calls. He ran the ball, 4th and long. Well, 4th and medium, 3rd and medium, 4th and 1. Ran the ball. Most teams would pass it. And he got them every single time. They got the first down on those 3 plays. But they went 3 for 4 on 4th down on that drive because 4th and goal at the 2, they got stopped. But Detroit, with their two-headed monster of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, were just running all over the Chargers because, well, that's what they do. But in response to that, the Chargers have Keenan Allen, who is a bad man. There's a few of those in the league right now. We talked about one a couple games ago. Mike Evans. Keenan Allen. Another one. I mean, if you don't think 175 yards and 2 touchdowns on 11 catches is a good stat line, you're crazy. Right. But they kept going back and forth. They were staying close. Detroit just late in the 4th quarter, they are 4th and 2, positioned to kick a field goal with 1:47 left. And Dan Campbell goes for it. Absolutely insane call. They get it. Hit Sam Laporta. They get another 7-8 yards. And then they can just bleed the clock because the Chargers used all their timeouts. And they kick a game-winning field goal as time expires. That's 4 on Sunday. It was a really good game. I'm on saying, oh man. Nope, I messed his name up. St. Brown. Amon Ra? Yeah, I would. Whatever. St. Brown, 8 catches, 156 yards, touchdown. See, this is why I try not to say first names, is because I butcher it and then I get in my head and I make it worse. Because I've heard his name a bunch of times and I just butchered it. I apologize. Anyway, he had a huge game, 156 yards and a touchdown. David Montgomery, 12 carries, 116 yards and a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, 14 carries, 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Lions are scary. Their defense needs to play a little more consistent, giving up 38 points. But they're still really good. Okay. We're going to move on to the Giants and the Cowboys. Now, if anybody expected the Giants to win this, why? I want to know why. Because it's their third string quarterback. Their offensive line is patchwork. Nothing is going right for the Giants. But it was weird because Dallas only scored 7 points in the first quarter. They even drove down the field on their opening drive and got stopped 4th and goal. Weird. But, I mean, Dallas then took over and just crushed them. Dak, 404 yards, 4 touchdowns, threw a pick because it's kind of what he does. He also had a rushing touchdown. I guess that's pretty good. Brandon Cooks, 9 catches, 173 yards, and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 11 catches, 151 yards, touchdown. And he had a rushing touchdown. The Cowboys just were toying with the Giants at this point. It was unfair. I picked Dallas. That was a lock of the week. There we go. Got it right. Next, we move on to Washington Commanders and the Seattle Seahawks. Washington started strong, but they couldn't get anything going after their first 2 drives. Seattle not really doing much either until second half. They took the lead on, a pretty decent game out of Geno Smith. 369 yards, 2 touchdowns. But Washington kept fighting back. And at midway through the 4th quarter, Sam Howell, who I've been doting on. I've been saying great things about Howell this whole season. He played a really good game. 312 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did lose a fumble, but he flipped one out to Antonio Gibson, who caught it. Touchdown. Woo! Tied the game. But Seattle got the ball back with 57 seconds left. Hit a big play to DK Metcalf. Got put into position for a game-winning field goal, and Myers boots it through for 5 last-second field goal wins on Sunday. That's the most in NFL history on one day. That's pretty crazy. This seemed like a really good game too, so you could argue this one was a game of the week. I didn't think so. I'd put it between Detroit and the Chargers and Houston and Cincinnati, but it was a really good game. I think Washington needs to figure something out because Howell has been playing very well for them. But I picked Seattle. Seattle won by 3, 29-26. We're going to move on. And with this one, we're going to Sunday Night Football. The New Jersey Jets and the Las Vegas Raiders. And I first want to say, I'm sorry, America. It was a terrible game. It should not have been on prime time. I don't think either one have a prime time. Well, maybe the Jets, but because they expected Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry. That's all I can say. I'm sorry. But I do have to say, Marcus Peters, you suck. You've played in the NFL for how long and you don't know how to tackle? Okay. With that being said, terrible Jets offense, bad Raiders offense, great Jets defense, improving Raiders defense. I kind of expected it to be a shit show. And hey, guess what? It was. But the Raiders came out on top 16-12 with a early fourth quarter touchdown that held up the rest of the fourth quarter to Michael Mayer, rookie tight end. If you haven't seen that catch, it was gorgeous. I would recommend going and trying to find it. Shouldn't be hard. Internet has everything. But the thing is, the Jets had 2 chances after getting a fumble from Jacobs. They drove down the field. Robert Spillane got a big pick. They got a 3-and-out. And the Jets had another chance with 53 seconds. And they got huge yardage. They needed to go 80 yards, and they probably went 50-ish. But came up short with a Hail Mary attempt with 5 seconds left in the game. It was close. It was way too close. That offense should not have even been in position, but whatever. A win's a win. Coach Pierce is 2-0. Next week it's Miami. I wonder which Miami team's going to show up. Anyway, I picked the Raiders. Might not pick them the rest of the year, but they got the win. Cool. So then we go to a crazy Monday Night Football game. Denver, Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo's first 2 drives of the game, 2 turnovers. That is now, first play of the game, James Cook fumbled after he caught a pass. Next possession, Josh Allen throws a pick. 6 straight games with a pick, and he leads the NFL in interceptions. That's a problem for Buffalo. But on Denver's side, Russell Wilson looked good. Courtland Sutton looked good. And Sutton, crazy touchdown catch in the game. Just absolutely crazy. Going out of bounds, dragging the toe. Check that out. I can't necessarily explain it because I'm terrible. But it was a great catch. So with under 2 minutes, Buffalo got the lead, 22-21, which is important because Denver missed 2 extra points, right? So they would still be winning had they gotten those points. They wouldn't need a comeback, right? Well, right off of the ensuing kickoff, Denver, huge play to essentially go 25, 30 yards. They went from their 25 to the 50. They went to midfield. And then they got on a defensive pass interference call, an extra 20 yards. Put them into field goal range. No timeouts. They had to rush the kicking team on. And with like 7 seconds left. They snapped the ball to kick a game-winning field goal, but it goes wide right. But the Buffalo Bills don't know how to count, so there's a flag on the play, 12 men on the field. The Bills had it won had they not had 12 men on the field. Cool, move it up 5 yards. Broncos kicker gets to do it again. Boom, punches it through. Game-winning field goal. As time expires, 24-22, Broncos upset the Bills. Now, if I were the Bills or Bills fans, I'm in panic mode. You are 5-5. You've lost some ugly, terrible games. Josh Allen has not been playing up to the expectations that everybody has had for him. It's crazy. It's crazy. At least James Cook looked good outside of the fumble. Right? I guess that's something to hang your hat on if you're a Buffalo fan. But so there we go. Those are my picks. That's how I went. Just a reminder. Little 9-5 action. Not the best, but it's still a winning record. And that's all that matters. So I hope you'll join me for the next video when I do my picks for week 11. But until then, as always, it is what it is. I'll see you next time. Later.